How are scales like broccoli? And what exactly is the examiner looking for in order to award you a distinction in your scales? That's coming up next.
Music Online UK.
Many students find learning scales rather tedious and so neglect preparing them well for their exams. They are a bit like broccoli or whatever your least favourite vegetable is. You know they're good for you, but you prefer the other things on the plate. If you are like many, you probably eat your vegetables first so that you can enjoy the thing that you like the most at the end of the meal, ending up with a nice taste in your mouth. Similarly, it would be a good idea to start your practice with scales. Just get them out the way, get them done so that you can enjoy the pieces later. And also they are a good warm-up for your fingers. I would also offer the same advice for the exam itself. You should start the exam with your scales because again, they are a good warm-up. And it tends to be that most people are a little bit nervous more at the beginning of the exam, and the scales can be quite an easy way to just relax your nerves. Now, to get a good mark in an ABRSM exam, it's a good idea to look at the official marking criteria. And for a distinction in this area, 4 areas are mentioned. Highly accurate notes and pitch, playing fluently and rhythmically, playing musically, and a confident response. Now, in order to play highly accurately with good notes and pitch, fingering is essential. You need to learn your fingerings thoroughly. I have students that say, well, I played the right notes, but just the fingering went a little bit off, but I still got the right notes. Doesn't that count? To which I say no, because in order to play highly accurately every time, you need to develop muscle memory. And you can't develop muscle memory if you use a different fingering every time. So learn your fingerings thoroughly. Secondly, you need to be able to play fluently and rhythmically. And again, this comes into learning through muscle memory. Some of the grade 8 scales go at a very fast speed and you don't have time to think about what fingers are going on what notes. The only way you can do it is through muscle memory. And the only way to develop muscle memory is through using the same fingering every time you play that scale. The next thing is musically shaped. And you might ask, well, how can a scale be musical? It's just a technical exercise. Well, there is a little clue in the syllabus that talks about without undue accentuation. Let me give you a little demonstration. In the scale of B major, if you know that scale, you'll know that the thumbs always come together on the 2 white notes B and E. Now, it tends to be that you can play that scale of B major with a little bit of a bump on the 2 white notes where your thumbs come together. The thumbs tend to play a little bit heavier, like this. Now, if you look at the official scale books published by the ABRSM for this grade, you'll notice that the scales are written out in 4s. And if you think of the scales in 4s, you'll put a little bit of a natural accent on the first note of every group of 4. And this will give them much more flow and they'll be played more musically. Think of them in 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's a much more musical effect. So think of your scales in groups of 4. Or if it's grades 1 and 2, you can just think of them in groups of 2. And finally, the 4th thing mentioned in the criteria is confident response. Now, you don't want to be waiting 10 to 20 seconds trying to work out what the key signature was and what finger to start on in the exam. You need to be able to go straight into the scale when the examiner asks for it. The problem is that we often practice our scales in the same order every day. In these books, you'll have a list of scales in the back and you'll probably just play them in the order that they're written in the back of the book. However, it's a good idea to mix them up a little bit. Now, on my website, I have a nice little resource that you can use to help you mix up the order of the scales. They're called scale flashcards. And also on the same page, there is a video link to every single scale you will ever need for either ABRSM or Trinity. There's a link in the description below to that page if you want to go and check it out. So, can you remember the 4 aspects that the examiner is looking for in order to give you a distinction in your scales? They are highly accurate notes and pitch, fluently and rhythmically played, musically played, and confident response. And if you want to have more hints and tips on the other aspects of the ABRSM exam in order to get a distinction, click on the playlist How to Get a Distinction at ABRSM appearing on your screen now. Thanks for watching.